This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsdirect.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Hop tea instead of pitching hops in an extract batch. How long to carbonate a 5-gallon keg, maintaining an RO system, and a brief recap of our 2023, along with one of the longest intros I've ever had. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 363. Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you, listener, viewer at home, have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com, click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, use our hotline, call it in, leave a voicemail to 325-305-6107. And if I use your voicemail on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. It's really the best way to do it. But anyways, I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Stuming, joined as always by the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com over there, Mr. James Carlson, and the man with the plan, the founder, the chief keg washer of kegconnection.com, Mr. Todd Burns, right beneath me. Gentlemen, hello. You are beneath me. Why are you shaking your head? You are beneath me. You're on my screen.
Yeah, not on my screen.
Oh, where am I? Am I below you on your screen?
You're below me.
Okay, I'm below you. That's what yeah. You are a couple things. I wish. Yeah.
I'm James isn't even on my screen. I don't understand that. Oh, there he is. That was weird. He was like, it was just a blank piece there, and then all of a sudden it's like red and blue.
Rangers, baby.
Technology is so hard.
And then we got red and blue and then yellow.
Oh yeah. Oh, I noticed that when I turned on the camera, I was like, I'm really yellow today.
I wonder if anybody can even see me over here in my black.
First, what is that shirt? Is that new? I like it.
Oh, my daughter gave me this a while back. It's all kinds of brewing stuff.
Okay, the top little logo at the top kind of looked like Brewlosophy. I was like, "Who gave you a Brewlosophy shirt? You're not wearing a Homebrew
It's
Happy
got
Hour."
all kinds of stuff about brewing on
That's
there.
awesome.
Although I have had people actually think it was pot on there before. I'm like, it doesn't look anything like that.
The hops, they're like, it's a cousin. It's a cousin.
I know, but it's just funny.
Cousin of cannabis. Yeah, that's here. Spoiler coming 2024. Cannabis Connection. We are launching a new show. No, I think I'm wearing the yellow to combat the amount of red that's always on my face. Some people have texted me and like, hey, do you have? Oh, what was some guy? Was it lupus? I forgot what he said. He's like, your cheeks are, is some butterfly like pattern. I go, no, I have high blood pressure and I eat sugar in the mornings before we record. I think that's all that's going on. But maybe I have pre-diabetes. Who knows? Anyway, Todd, this is you were out last week. You were gone. And then I think you're going to be gone pretty soon. But I wanted...
I'm pretty sure I've been excluded from some episodes as well.
Oh, absolutely. You made a very strong threat to me that if I ever do an interview episode without you again, my job's on the line. I've heard that before 1,000 times. Every day. But then the next threat you made...
that wasn't my threat because that was such a hollow threat these days.
But the next threat that I do want to take you up on, call your bluff. You told me you and James are going to produce an episode without me. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're going to do an episode without you. You're going to produce it.
No, that's right. No, you did make sure I knew that I would still be here to run the boards and all that. But I'm not going to be speaking. We're going to find a way to just take me off the screen. And
we're going to put a gag on you.
We got to do that in 2024. I really do think that'd be a great episode. And I'm being completely serious. Not because I think you'd be bad. I think it would be good. You can source the questions, I guess. I have to do that for you too.
Well, I have to have access to where you get them from.
Yeah, that's true. But you actually mentioned doing an interview episode without me, which I think would be the most entertaining. The two of you having on whomever you play. Actually, the two of y'all with Owen would be a good one. The two.
Have you heard from Owen? We need to reach out to him.
No, but I haven't really followed up.
It's been Christmas.
It's been Christmas.
So.
I'm preaching to the choir, especially with James. You and I talked about it when I was up last week. Everyone has senioritis right now. Like all the people we tried messaging or emailing, calling, they're basically all out of office until the 10th of January. I
know. I called two people this morning because I'm trying to do a quote and trying to do some other stuff, and they were like, "Oh, it's good you caught us. I just came into the office to do a few things." I'm like, well, why would you be in the office all day?
No, you tell me that all the time. It was really funny or wild to me is Germans are off. I want to say, without exaggeration, 15 weeks of the year. Is that an exaggeration, James? I feel like they're off all the time.
I think Todd and I looked it up one day, and they had like I'm exaggerating once again, but it seemed like it was 70 plus holidays for the whole year.
Seriously? Oh, it's always something.
And like I said, it's probably not 70, but it was a lot. It shocked me how many they celebrate.
It's a lot, and it's all the time. You email a German in the industry and like, oh, we have taken off for Christiannachtstrudel-Fest. We'll be back in 9 weeks. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Stefan's in the Swiss Alps skiing right now.
He is.
So.
Oh, that's right. No meeting tomorrow because he's skiing. Yep. Huh. No meeting for like 2 weeks because he's just skiing. Just every day, just skiing. Anyways, we do have a chock full episode, but before we get to that, I do have some small talk to get through. First, let me get the business side out of the way. If you are wanting to brew this month's incredible, delicious, there it is on the screen, London Porter, which is what our members of our patreon.com/homebrew happy hour Trub Club members are brewing, you can go to that same URL, join the recipe receiving tier, and I will ship it out to you soon. I actually already got out all the kits for people who are currently members and did that last week to try to have an early Christmas present for you guys. Some of y'all reported that you were just now getting it like today. The good thing is, though, the weather's great. Not only do I still ice packed them, fearing it might sit in the truck. The weather's been pretty good to where that yeast is still going to be extremely viable. The pats are as fresh as they can be. And, of course, all the other premium ingredients like you'll see on our screen from our friends at Munton's Malts and hopsdirect.com. And, yet, like I said, Imperial Yeast as well. We are extremely pleased with this kit. I would like to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who's in the Trub Club, because y'all have made our year just phenomenal. We've had a great showing of people who support us, especially at the levels who get recipe kits shipped to them every month. That has grown a lot. We're ending the year with one new person joining the 10-gallon every month. And yesterday, Todd, we had someone join the 15-gallon every month tier. It's like,
really?
It's like $130 maybe or something, which in the bigger picture is a heck of a deal when you look at what ingredients cost nowadays. We are very fortunate that our sponsors, Muntins and Hopsterette and Imperial, are supporting our vision and what we're doing. So that keeps the cost down. I've never shipped a 15-gallon kit. I might, report back to y'all, hey, it turns out we make nothing. Can you imagine how heavy that's going to be, especially on some of these kids? 15-gallon recipe kit. I don't know what size bots. I guess that's probably going to be like a 1 keg bots, right? Or a 2. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But either way, we've ended the year very strong. And we've even had people who come and go all the time throughout the year. And I guess what I'm saying is, without y'all's support, we could not do what we do. We sincerely appreciate it. This is kind of our end of year recap episode as well. And I would say my favorite part about 2023 is the engagement I have had with Trub Club members, whether it's paying members at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, or whether it's just people in our private Facebook group I'll put the link below. It is now open to everyone, that Facebook group. The messaging for the Trub Club specific stuff, like for paying members, is all done through Patreon now. But you can join that club if you just want to be more involved with our community. A lot of people view it as like a homebrew club, which I would say if you have a local one, join that too, because it's always good to brew with other people and share your knowledge in person. But online is the next best thing, and we sincerely appreciate everyone who has joined it. And again, I kind of went off track there, but go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join the recipe receiving tier, tell me how you want your grains, and I'm going to ship you out the delicious London Porter. Todd, you and I recently, actually, the three of us really, as kind of brainstorm, we have really good recipe kits planned out for the first quarter of next year. I'm excited about that as well for Trub Club. We're starting.
Yeah, me too.
Starting the year off strong. I'm not going to spoil it. Normally, I have a hard time keeping my big mouth shut, but I'm going to. And the reason we all plan, Todd reminded me, I can't do stuff like this last minute because we have to get supplies sent to us. Like, it's a big deal to get grains. I didn't realize that until doing this, because I never ordered. When we ran homebrewsupply.com, I wasn't involved in the ordering or any of that. So I had no idea, like, hey, we got to plan out for at least a quarter at a time, because getting a pallet full of grains is a big deal and necessary. We're lucky that they, are quick to reply. And Imperial, I've always been able to tell them, like, on a Monday, hey, here's what we need. And they ship it out the next day, 2-day it to us. Hopsdirect.com as well. Our buddy Matt Crane over there. Hey, Matt, here's what we're brewing. Can you ship us this? Yeah, absolutely. Boom. It's in the mail. Grains require a little bit more planning, especially with our mates. I'll just say the bloats overseas. I don't know if bloke is a bad word or not for English people. I'm using it great. They listen. Kenneth, I mean it in the best way possible. You're my bloke, my mate, whatever.
I don't think it's a derogatory term.
Okay, I don't know, man, because I don't know. I train with some Australians, and the C word they don't think is derogatory either. But then when I say it, my wife slaps me. But anyway, we have had a great 2023 for our patreon.com/homebrew happy hour Trub Club members. And again, just thank y'all for that. Also, what else do I have in the small talk? Oh, Christmas beer and stuff like that. Todd, I wish I had the picture of you. You know what? I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to throw it up on the screen right now. Bing! In post-production. You were Santa Claus. You did it. Is that why you grew the beard? I saw the Christmas.
Do you like that? I'm actually going to send you all my I don't know if I sent this to y'all. My favorite holiday beer so far. Is that what you were going to talk about?
It is. Yep, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Okay.
I will send that to you and James, because I don't know if I sent this the other day because I've been drinking. And it's a New Belgium Holiday Ale.
Oh, I got it. Okay, so now hold on. I'm going to throw that on the screen. Bing! Okay, that's on the screen.
So it was very unique. It had some cranberry and spice flavor, and kind of reminded me a little bit in a different sort of way of the Anchor Steam Christmas beer, in that it had some spice to it. So
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It's one of those I wasn't sure I would like it, and I had one, and then I actually recommended it to a couple people at the party, and then I had another one last night, and I really liked the beer. So
Nice. James, what were you drinking for this the recent Christmas holiday?
Let's see. I went to Specs in Stephenville, and for my own Christmas, I bought a case of Versteiner pills. I bought some Boulevard Brewery Amber Lager.
Oh.
I bought the 4.6s Lager, and I bought a 12-pack of St. Arnold's sampler pack and some cigars, and that was my Christmas.
And a German pills in a pear tree. No, yeah, that was. I like that. That's a good selection. You have some left,
Yeah.
I hope, right?
Oh yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I just.
I'm just slamming them
Yeah,
the whole
just
time as
slamming
soon as
them.
I got home. No,
I was Santa too.
The weather was, I don't know about you, but Saturday was kind of a bust. But Todd, being the great boss he is, let us off Friday. So that was the first thing. I cooked breakfast, got up, left Gracie at the house, went to Total Specs, came back, and I cooked on the grill, had the grill going, sitting on the porch, enjoying the day. It was absolutely beautiful.
Same here in regards to cooking the griddle. I've been doing basically every lunch and breakfast out there, since Friday, as much as possible. My parents unfortunately got sick, so we didn't do the normal Christmas that we would normally do at their house, but we went to my aunt's. We're going to do Christmas at my folks this coming Saturday, so that'll be fun because we have Kolsch on tap and we have the 2023 breakfast stout on tap, and he went ahead and left the 2022 breakfast stout on tap because they're different enough to let people kind of do taste testing themselves and all that, and we need to drink it. It's just been sitting there enough. Is that keg still upstairs, or did you take it home?
Yeah,
No.
I just I got home and I was
Hey, doesn't hurt
Damn it.
doesn't hurt my
I
feelings.
forgot.
Listen, pal, that's your keg. You do whatever you want with that keg. But remember to carbonate it, however, to your liking. I did not carbonate it. Todd, I know, because you messaged me and you messaged my dad. I forgot you had his number. I don't know how I feel about that. But it was in a good way, though. You messaged because you were enjoying some pours from that keg of breakfast.
yeah, your
stout.
dad and I talk a lot.
That's better than when you tell me you and my mom talk a lot. So thanks for that. Watch yourself. He watches this. You watch yourself. Control it. Anyways, it was good. It's a good holiday.
Wrong.
It is wrong. It has been a good holiday season for beer. A lot of Trub Club members have messaged me directly at 325-305-6107 with what they've been drinking, what they've been brewing. Even if you're not in the Trub Club official, guys, that hotline, you can text it. I'm addicted to my cell phone, so there's a good chance I will reply quickly. And we do enjoy seeing what y'all are brewing. We really enjoy, I never forward y'all the stuff that they're brewing, but I usually forward you to like their draft systems and all that when people show us what they're making. Our community is very ingenuitous. I don't know the word I'm saying. They're very creative and they're very smart people, and some of the draft systems they make with our components blows my mind. I've shown y'all before, right? It's just incredible what people are willing to do for this hobby. They're basically making like full-fledged bars in their homes. It's super impressive, which does bring me actually to my last bit of small talk before getting into the actual show. We are launching in 2024, or I guess we've already launched, but it's going to be more of official, the Keg Connection draft beer installation services. Todd, do you want to talk a little bit about what the thought behind that was and what the plan is?
Sure. I mean, just briefly, we already do installations like commercial, restaurant, and bar installations. And we work with a lot of other installers as well to do installations around the country. So the idea is that we're going to do a landing page for commercial installations. And if they're in our local area, we would do them. If they're not in our local area, then we would basically send people to who we think would be a good installer and help people in finding someone to do a good quality installation in their bar, restaurant, commercial situation. So,
exactly. Yeah. It's very exciting. Like you said, we don't mind being the middleman because we've been, as a company, this coming up is our 18th year of operation. And that's a long time. You've got a good network established, Todd, in regards to installers in various states and all that. And we have a very good relationship with our friends at FOTS Equipment. And so this is just the kind of natural progression of being able to offer. We've been in the retail spot for forever, and we've been in the wholesale spot, but this is like, hey, we can, because we're knowledgeable enough. And by we, I mean you and James. Y'all are knowledgeable enough to get the installs done. And if it's too far away, you have the network of being able to connect people with the proper installers. So I think it's very exciting. You can learn more at kegconnection.com if you're into that. And obviously, if you're trying to design your own home system and all that, always call the office line at 325-356-5204. Ask for Todd. Email Todd or James. That's what y'all do basically every day, is helping people with custom orders, making their dreams come true. It is the holiday season. If you got a gift card to Keg Connection, it's a good time to put that to use. But anyways, I do believe that's all the small talk that I have. Before we get to the 3 questions for the show, it's time for listener feedback. We do have voicemail listener feedback this week, and it's our buddy Kyle from Virginia with feedback about sanitizing your beer lines.
Hey guys, this is Kyle from Virginia calling with some listener feedback regarding sanitizing beer lines after cleaning them. I'd like to start out by saying how much I appreciate Josh because of how he complimented my alt beer during the competition. It was pretty obvious that he had a crush on it because of the way it looked, which is about as nice a compliment as I could expect given that particular brew day was a bit of a disaster and I almost didn't submit it at all. In fact, I had to use some expired packs of K97 dry yeast to make it happen, so you're welcome for that. But since I was lucky enough to make the second round, I guess I either brewed a somewhat decent beer or Josh and Todd were half lit by the time they tasted mine and I got really lucky. Anyways, contrary to the popular zeitgeist of U3, I tend to sanitize my beer lines after I clean them. I fully acknowledge that it's probably overkill and doesn't provide any benefit whatsoever. However, the reason I sanitize after cleaning is that I disconnect my taps every Sunday because I'm a man of selective willpower combined with situational laziness. So unhooking my tap on Sunday is enough to keep me from drinking away my troubles after work on Monday. Given that I leave them disconnected during the entire work week, I worry about residual rinse water that I run through after the brew clean sitting there all week and until the next pour. I know I'm not going to infect the beer in the next pour per se, but Northern Virginia garage is an absolute swamp in the summer, and mildew type growth is a real thing with any damp thing you leave sitting around. So I sanitize most of the time just as an extra insurance policy against the funky flavor on next Friday's pour. I figured the extra step is worth the additional 5 minutes of my time, given that I'll waste more time sitting on the toilet on any given day, and I'd rather not waste a beer because it tastes a little funky because I didn't do something a week prior. Anyways, love the show. Appreciate it, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
It is a good point, and I brought the feedback on because it just goes to show it's circumstantial, right? With sanitizing the beer lines, we haven't had to. Y'all's draft systems that y'all are pulling from are in temperature controlled spaces, so that kind of growth and all that's not likely happening, and not affecting the pour. I will say too, Todd, I think we were blitzed by that point that we took his beer sample. We had to have been. And then also he's talking about spending more time on the toilet. Small fact for people at home. When I post on Facebook is just when I'm pooping. So if it's like a 2 or 3 post kind of day, that's a pretty healthy regular day for me for on the toilet. Anyway, thank you for the feedback, Kyle. Y'all have any, I don't know if y'all wanted to add to it. We've had similar feedback for that topic, but different approach, which again is what I like because our audience is just full of very unique perspectives where some people say they do it for this, or they don't do it for this, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know if y'all wanted to add anything before I moved on.
Wow, that was a lot. I'm trying to wrap my head around what he's talking about and that he's sanitizing because he's leaving. I mean, his cooler's still cool though, right? I mean, he doesn't turn it off. So I just don't really know what the advantage would. I mean, is he sanitizing and then leaving the sanitizer in the lines?
I don't actually have the transcript now in front of me. I believe, yes, that's what he was saying. Or,
okay.
but he also, go ahead.
I mean, I would be very leery to leave sanitizer in my lines because it will, it can affect the lines. It'll eat the lines, make them super cloudy, that sort of thing. So I would, and if you're worried about, if you're worried about having an issue with stuff growing in the lines, you don't really have to worry about that if they're inside of the keys or kegerator, whatever it is. It's no different than if you were pouring beer and not pouring beer. If for some reason you've got lines outside of that you're worried, that's totally legitimate. I would you could always sterilize the lines. That's fine. And then, or clean the lines really good, run some good clean water through them when you're done. And then I would drain the lines. I would disconnect everything and let them and dry them out. Having them dry is what would really help against mold and so forth. I just think leaving sanitizer in there long term, you're probably going to discolor your lines and have some issues there. I wouldn't leave sanitizer in lines for a long period of time.
Well, and I could see though. So my pop and I have the turnkey style kegerator with the fridge and the tower on top of it. And, we don't use any of those tower coolers or even like a fan to install to get the cold air up into the tower as well, because we just haven't felt the need. But I have noticed sometimes, he keeps that game room. My dad probably keeps it on average throughout the year 77 if I was a betting man, like in the summer, and however cold it is ambient during the winter. And sometimes the first pour can be a little, and I always assumed it's because of what was
have you looked at the beer lines on the inside?
Oh yeah. No, when you actually open it up, no, they're fine. I just mean though, I think the
up in the tower. You're talking about a tower. Then.
Yes, tower is what I'm talking about. And we have
you opened the lid on the tower and looked down to see what the beer lines look like?
We have before. I mean, not every time, but yes, we frequently do. He just recently cleaned them. Yeah. And by we, again, I mean someone else. I'm very,
I would suggest on your situation, Josh, I would get a fan. They're very inexpensive. And then you have air circulating and you're keeping it cooler. And because if your tower's in a really hot environment and you're not pouring beer for, several days in a row, you could pretty quickly get some mold and stuff growing in there.
Okay, maybe I'll do that for the new year. That should be my New Year resolution: is putting
and then the other thing is just drain it. Run some clean water through and drain it if you're not going to use it a while.
When that's what he will frequently do. So he cleaned them recently, and he left the water, basically the clean water after cleaning it with Brew Clean. He left clean water in there, and we're going to drain it before the Christmas party. That way,
okay. I would not leave clean water in there.
I don't. Okay, he might write in and tell
because
me.
that's gonna grow in there. It's not really clean water. It's water that ran through your beer lines, and I mean, I would drain the water out. You're going to get mold in a hot environment if you leave water in there.
Okay, deal.
I speak from experience. Do you remember a certain doctor, James, that we went over to his place and?
Oh yeah,
he had stored it with some water in there.
Oh no, yeah. You had to replace the beer lines, I'm assuming.
Yeah. We had to take all the beer lines off, thoroughly scrub everything.
Was it as bad as the former employees' moldy kegerator?
Probably about the same. Yeah,
I mean, no.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Though I mean, water is not your friend. Leaving water in those lines and leaving sanitizer's problematic. Leaving water's problematic. If you're going to store them, I would drain the lines and have them so that they're actually getting airflow. Like leave the faucet open and leave anything off the end so that you just got a drained line that's getting airflow.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, how do you dry them? But that's the only way too when they're connected. Because I can't.
Yeah, they'll dry.
I can't conveniently do the woo 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 method on a kegerator beer line. That's my go-to drying method for every other line that I can get out, but I can't. I don't want to disconnect it from the tower. What I'm talking about, the woo woo, the rodeo woo woo. Anyways, Kyle, thank you so much for submitting that question. A reminder, friends, if you call 325-305-6107, leave us voicemail feedback, and I use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. Use that same hotline, however. Leave a voicemail question. I can't talk today. I'm too coffeeed up. I've been using my Nuremberg glass that you brought me back, James. Thank you, by the way.
Well, my wife found your glass. Did you see that?
She did tell me that. My pool glass. Your brother took it to the cabin. Tell him I said thanks. But anyways, if you call that same hotline and leave a question, which I need them, so please do that, to 325-305-6107, and I play that on a future episode, you also get yourself a $25 gift card. Like our first question of the day, it's our buddy Joe Whiting with a voicemail.
Hi guys, Joe Whiting here. Hey, I have a question that I hope won't give purists heart palpitations about extract brewing. I'm an all-grain guy, but I got a good deal on some unhopped LME. I'm going to steep some specialty grains and do a full volume boil on the mash and boil. I wonder, to simplify things even more, can I make a hop tea instead of boiling the hops in the wort, adding the tea with the LME? I'm not a big hop head, but can I get enough hop utilization that way? Lastly, there seems to be difference of opinion on when to add the extract, all at once or saving some close to the end of the boil so it doesn't darken too much. Of course, I'm going to turn off the unit when adding the extract. Oh, one more thing. How long do you need to boil an all extract full volume boil? Thanks to James' evangelistic conviction on pressure fermentation, my first attempt turned out great. A 6-gallon torpedo keg with a spunding valve and a used set of corny pinlock posts from Keg Connection allowed me to make a full 5-gallon batch and to convert the keg to pinlocks. Love the show and always pick up a bit of knowledge from you guys. Keep up the good work. Feliz Navidad, mis amigos.
Thank you, Joe. Merry Christmas to you as well. Great questions in there. Let's tackle it just in order, James. He was specific to mention unhopped LME because people out there who might be looking or on deals or whatever, you got to make sure if it's hopped, you know that before using it, because a lot of cans for kits do come pre-hopped for the sake of simplification, right?
Yeah.
So he getting an unhopped can and using that with steeping grains. So, partial mash brewing, very, very popular. And we're no strangers. Most of our extract kits, if not all of them, I think that you made were partial brew or partial mash, weren't they? But the hop tea, I have no experience with that. I don't know if you guys have done it either, but I'm throwing it to you first, James. Is there still going to be, can you get, like you said, enough hop utilization from making a tea rather, and pouring that in to save on, I guess, hop particulates and residue? It made sense. If it is a true translation, hey man, that's the cleanest way to do a brew day. So you're not having to really clean out all that gunk at the bottom.
Yeah, and it just depends on how long you boil it. So if you want to create bittering units, then you got to boil it a whole hour. So that requires a little bit more water because you're going to lose a little bit of that to evaporation. But yeah, you can do that, and then just be careful, cool it down, make sure you're very careful not to splash when you're adding it back into the wort or the beer. A lot of people will do a hop tea. I know me, for one, would be if I was going to do a secondary fermentation, wanted to add hops without throwing them in the secondary, and then also have risk the chance of oxidizing the secondary beer. You can do a few ounces of water, boil it. If you're looking for aromatics and flavor, you can do that 15, 20 minutes. And then add that into, cool it down, then add it in. You can do it either way. Just kind of experiment. But I would say the first time you do it, go on the slow. Don't boil it quite as long, because I think that you could probably over hop that beer if you boil too much. And there's a lot of things. All know how I feel about hops. I think there's a fine line between the correct amount of bittering and not. But as far as aromatics, just go for it. I love the smell and the flavor of, especially Citra. I think probably from a flavor bond, that's probably the one that hits me the most. You can smell the fruit flavors and all of that. So you would do, 10, 15 minute boil with one of those. If you were going to add, if you wanted citrus notes and you wanted the aromatics, that's what I would do with a hop tea.
Now, hop tea, to me, and again, I sent you all the questions, but we don't really talk about the questions, but for the 90 seconds before I hit record, and I'm just like, y'all got the questions, right? Yeah. Okay, the first one, I'll say this, we'll talk about this. This week, I was like, I know nothing about it. Y'all been so busy, y'all didn't even look at the questions, which is actually pretty common for us.
Yeah.
But Todd, hop tea, if I'm understanding it right, man, that makes it seem like the cleaning is going to be so much more straightforward and easy after the brew day. As someone who's had to clean a lot of brew days, and especially y'all's batch, like when we're at the barn and I'm helping you clean on the brow tod, that is a lot of hop particulates and stuff and scrubbing and whatever we're doing at the end. Is there a reason you've never utilized hop tea? Do you believe that you could get the same result of bittering by doing a hop tea as opposed to just direct pitching?
I mean, when you do a hop tea, you're going to have to clean up that pan anyway, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that some pot or pan is getting cleaned at the end of the day.
But as far as using it, in other words, you're basically just doing your whole boil with water to get the hops out, and then you're adding in the water because it's an extract recipe. I mean, it seems like it would work. I've never done that, but I mean, I usually just add half whether it's LME or DME, I usually add half of it and do the whole thing and then add the other half in at the end. The reason a lot of recipes I think originally were written that way was not just because of the color change, which you could obviously get some color change, but also just so people don't boil it over by having so much sugar in there. When they're trying to add their hops and all of that. If you've got a big enough pan, it's not a concern at all. So go
ahead.
Yeah.
I
never did that. I rarely, I've done it both ways. I've added all of them in the beginning.
Same.
And I've done half and half because I'm trying to brew a recipe exactly the way it was written, to try to, when we were developing recipes. So I've done it both ways. I don't have a strong preference either way. I think the beer basically turns out the same.
I was gonna back up those same sentiments. Where my dad and I, when we were Etchstrat brewing, we have done it both ways. Because the ones we were first Etchstrat brewing all of James's recipes, which were partial mash for the Etchstrat side of things, and so you do the steeping grains and you bring it up to temp, and then you get it to boil. And we just pour in all of the frequently LME, sometimes DME. But like you said, Todd, the worry would be if you didn't have enough volume because it could boil over. You just had to be careful and slow and stirring in thoroughly and all that. Where when Homebrew Supply recipes came into our life, my dad and I did their Helleweisen, which in hindsight, I don't know why we did. None of us are big wheat beer drinkers. I think we might have brought it to the ranch, Todd, and gave it to Liz, perhaps.
Okay.
Either way, that recipe was a half and half. And I'll tell you, maybe it's because of how slow and stirring we would do with James's recipes. There was no difference in the brew day, except for having to remember to put the rest of it towards the end of the boil. But as far as the beer turned out, I don't think it makes a huge difference. But this is one of those questions people will be in the comments and go, here's why you do it half and half, or here's why you should do it all the time. And then like James already kind of touched on, Joe's asking, how long do you even need to boil for a full volume? Would you say, James, if you're trying to get the correct or appropriate bittering from your batch, then a 60 would be necessary? Or is this too subjective of a question because it depends on what you're brewing?
Well, keep in mind to convert alpha acids to bittering units, you have to do an hour boil. So if that's what you're after and you're more on the bittering units and you don't want the hop particulates in the beer, then you can do a 1 hour and then introduce it into the beer right before you pitch your yeast. But if you're just wanting aromatics or flavor, then it's just not, there's absolutely no need. In fact, you can change the profile of the beer if you boil it too long, because then you're adding more bittering units than you're originally planned, especially if you're doing aromatics.
And I just assume, James, I think that's what you're saying, but I just assumed that if he was going to do a hop tea, he understood that he would have to boil it for an hour, but I don't know if we said that. That's a good point. I mean,
just depends on if he's wanting to use the hops for bittering or if it's just for aromatics.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, so if he's got a hop schedule that says these are the bittering hops, these are the 20-minute ones, these are the 15 or flame out or whatever the heck it is, you would have to boil that hop tea exactly the same as if you were brewing, which I don't know. It just seems like a lot of extra work to me.
I mean, to me, I think it is. I think it'd be just as easy just to use some really good hop bags and just do it all in the kettle with the wort.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, first and foremost, I'm lazy, and so that does seem like a lot more footwork when it could just be part of the brew day. But I do like the effectiveness of keeping everything in the you know what I mean? Like old dog nutrients, where it sounds good, but like say maybe some of the nutrients would be like how he mentions at the end, like the pressure fermentation, because that's a separate part of the process of brew day. But the actual hot side of brewing, I do like the the familiarity rather that I have with, okay, it's 60 minutes. I put in my ounce of Hallertau, and then 95% of the time, that's all I do because I'm just brewing Kolsch's. But if I'm brewing like the alt beer, which I do have a alt brew day coming up, that's like 3 hop editions of Spalt, I do believe. It is right. It's your recipe. I'm brewing your recipe because I haven't brewed.
Yeah, 60, 30, and 5, I believe, is the hop schedule.
But if I had done a hop tea, like you said, I'd have to preemptively have boiled 60 and 30 and 5 for these tea things, and then still remember to put them in at those times, right? So it sounds like an extra step that I'm not going to remember. But I do like, again, though, I like the idea that he has of just making everything straightforward for him on the extract brew day, doing full volume. And when he's done and going in the fermenter, it's not going to be a too big of a yucky mess at the bottom of his mash and boil. Which, can I say too, those kettles, like whether it's the Grainfather, the mash and boil, the Brewzilla, those things are so wonderful. They're if you're doing 5-gallon batches and you don't have a ton of space, oh my gosh. They have completely revolutionized people making stuff at home. I'm actually trying on not Christmas Day, because that just happened. The Christmas party on Saturday, I'm trying to talk my dad into let me use, or let me serve, not letting me use. It's my equipment. But I wanted to bring our mash and boil and serve hot chocolate out of it. I think the kids of my family would really like that, because you can just program it at, I'm making a number up because I haven't looked in it, but I bet you hot chocolate served at 120. I don't know what you serve hot chocolate. Not one. Like 120. I bet you it's like 120, 130. Either way, we could program it in at that perpetually. I can make a 2.5, 3-gallon batch of hot chocolate to last the whole party. I think the kids would like that. But I guess what I'm getting at is the versatility of all-in-one electric brewing is pretty nice, but not as nice as brewing on a 3-vessel Herm system like the Brautag, which we only have a handful of. Y'all can buy them, but they're a pain in the butt to build. Just so you know.
I think 120 that would be warm chocolate.
Yeah, I'd probably 150.
150. Okay, I told I
60.
I did say, okay. Well, I did say I'm making it up because I haven't looked into it yet. 160. That seems hot. I guess it is hot chocolate. What about for children?
212's boiling.
Yeah,
coffee's usually served between like 160 and 180. I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Unless you go to McDonald's and it's boiling.
Hey, I didn't realize that. Like, I remember I was young, but I remember everyone giving that woman crap when she sued him. Like, oh, you didn't know the hot coffee was hot. No, apparently they served it to her. She got brutally burned by that stuff. She earned every penny. I say earned. That's a messed up way of saying it. But she deserved all the compensation they gave her. And maybe that's
you really think so.
Dude, it hurt her bad. Look into the story. That poor woman.
I've read the story, but I mean, it's hot coffee. If you spill it on yourself, it's going to burn.
But they served it beyond the temperature of reasonable temperature. They served it like irrationally hot. Yeah. Oh, come on. They're on the hook. Don't give me that look. Don't you dare. Anyways, moving on. Joe, thank you so much for submitting that question. A reminder, when you call and leave a voicemail like Joe did to 325-305-6107, you get yourself a $25 gift card to KegConnection.com, or you could text that same hotline like our second question, a text message from our buddy Chris from West Virginia. And he wrote, "Hey guys, Chris here from West Virginia. I took Todd's advice on buying a new CM Becker regulator from your store during the Black Friday sale. Much better than the regulators I had snagged from work. I am getting a much more precise and accurate look at my CO2 usage. My question, This may be situational, but how long should it take to carb a 5-gallon corny keg? It seems to take several days for me to get a decent head. I do pressure ferment and have the regulator at 10 psi. Chris, great question. Todd, you've been helping him already. I'm going to throw it to you first. We do have a video that we've been saying for 2 years now we were going to update, because you don't force carb the same way in the video. You kind of do it a little differently. But if you were to set and forget at 10 psi, do you have an idea of what it would take for that batch of 5-gallon beverage to be fully carbonated?
I mean, we have a table on homebrewhappyhour.com. I think it tells you that, but it's a long time. I mean, I never do that. So I'm the wrong person to ask, because I've been brewing for like 40 years now, and I have never done that. So I always force carbonated some, leave it slightly undercarbonated, and then let the whatever I set it at bring it to the proper pressure, which doesn't take very long at all. If you use one of the carbonating stone caps that we have and it's cold, it'll do it very quickly. Like I would say, James, less than a day, like 12 hours or something, if I remember right. As far as just force carbonating by itself, James may know better than I do. 7 to 14 days.
Yeah, if you're just set and forget it, and let's say I've got the chart pulled up right here. So if you're at, let's say you're at 11 psi, and you want 2.5 volumes at 36 degrees, that's where it needs to be for it to settle out and be right at 2.5 volumes. It's actually 2.47. But if you do 38 at
but
11,
how long?
It doesn't give this is just set and forget. So it should stabilize at this volume.
I got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
but if you wanted,
go ahead.
But like a week, right?
Do it real fast, you could force carbonate like we do. Go ahead, I talked over you.
No. Just saying, like a week or maybe more than probably more than a week. I don't know.
Well, and
I think we should try it sometime.
Generally, that's all I used to do is set and forget, because I was scared I was going to overcarb, and it generally took about 7 days.
Okay.
And that was before you were pressure fermenting. That has to at least help somewhat shorten the length, right? Because you're getting that beer into its serving vessel at some carbonation. It's not, I mean, and more than normal fermentation, right? Like that's always been my assumption is it's even more than what normal fermentation would put into that beverage, because you're keeping it all in that vessel under pressure for, 4 to 7 days or whatever. I don't make up a number. I'm trying to turn my batches around quick. The last one I did under pressure of that Kolsch, I'm lying. The last one I did, I actually had to let it go because I went out of town. But the one before that I did under pressure, it finished out. I brewed on a Friday, and I believe I kegged it on Monday, or it might have been Tuesday. But that was when we were going to HomebrewCon. I believe it was that batch. But either way, the point being, though, that pressure fermenting will also affect it. But like Todd, you're saying how you don't do that. And the main reason that you don't set and forget is because you already have a keg, you already have a CO2 cylinder. I can't think of a reason to not force carbonate and enjoy your beer sooner than later.
I can't either.
Right. And you had already,
I mean, God, if I was going to do that, I'd just bottle, I guess.
Well, you took my, I've been trying to be telemarketer Josh the last few episodes where I'm like, well, let me tell you about this. The carbonating, the quick carb cap that we sell, the lid rather, is something I would recommend, but it also comes with, and I think I still have the image on the screen. I do. The ultimate keg accessory bundle is actually what I was going to push for in regards to people wanting to accomplish, fermenting in the keg, forced carbing in the keg, and serving from the same keg. It comes with all those accessories. I was going to say if I was him, he didn't say now. Chris didn't say in here that he was, he does pressure ferment, but he didn't say if he was pressure fermenting in a keg or whatever. But this kind of bundle does make it easy to do all of that in a keg. It makes the keg extremely versatile, more dynamic. And like you said, if you used, even if you got those parts individually just for what you needed, that quick carbonating cap does go. I mean, it is quick. That's why we put the word in it. It makes the beverage go a little bit quicker. You put the gas on it, and then you're good to serve sooner than later. But your video of you rocking and all that is it's timeless, right? People have been doing that since they've been using these kegs and having home draft systems. So it's still, although you told me you do it slightly different, that video is still great advice. It's not like it's dated.
Yeah, we could definitely do it over if you wanted to. It's not hard. So
right, but I just mean
only thing I do different is I don't do it as long anymore. I do it like at 40, and I just do it like for like a minute and then check it, and then 30 seconds and then check it. Because I found if I do it like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and I'm like, well, yeah, I know I can go at least 3 minutes before I overcarbonate it, and then I do it for 3 minutes and I overcarbonate it. and the reason is that I didn't know there was carbonation in there. Like I gained some carbonation in the secondary or in the when I have it in a closed vessel or something like that. Particularly true when you're doing pressure fermenting. You don't know exactly how much carbonation you've already got in there at that point.
Right. And that reminds me, the last telemarketer Josh opportunity, the CMB flow control event faucet is my pick of 2023 and pick of 2024. And it's been my pick for forever. If you're a home brewer and you have kids, that's the product you need. I swear on my life, it's the greatest thing ever for when you're forced carbing and you want to test in real time the carbonation level. For me, I have 2 of them in my garage fridge because my wife will not let me drill through the fridge to put proper taps on there because she thinks that's admitting defeat. It's still her fridge, but it's all my beer and kombucha and sparkling water in it. But it's her fridge. And so if I drill through it, that's her saying, okay, it's not my fridge anymore. Now, honey, it's your fridge. So I use 2 of those event faucets in there for dispensing. They're wonderful. They're incredible. But yeah, if you're forced carbing a beer, I would say, I don't say you have to have it as much as you're going to you're gonna have it and then use it and go, why did I not have this forever? Like it is truly my favorite piece of gear for any home brewer to have. But and also, Chris, thank you for the shout out for the CM Becker regulator. That's another opportunity to remind people of the great products over at cmbecker.com. Look at that hat James is wearing, cmbecker.com. Those regulators have been well received, and we've been switching our kits over to where people have a choice. And James, you probably fulfill way more orders than I ever do. But from what I've seen online, it seems like most people are choosing the CM Becker regulator over the other options that they have on kits.
Yeah, they've gone over the last, 2 years that we've been selling them. They've really gotten up there in popularity.
Yeah, which I appreciate. I think too, people like the extended warranty on it. It's a 5-year warranty instead of a 2-year.
Stainless steel body.
The stainless steel body. It's very easy.
It's a good product.
Very easy to use and adjust. And that's in large part due because when the testing phase was happening, Todd put those through the ringer with making sure they didn't creep or anything like that.
Yeah, and we had a lot of growing pains with the product too. So it didn't just happen overnight. It took quite a long while to get to where we're at now.
Absolutely. I'll have links to all this stuff in the show notes so I can stop being telemarketer Josh. But Chris, thank you so much for submitting that question. Guys, I've got one final question for this week's episode, and it is a voicemail. It's our buddy Zach from Buda.
Hey guys, this is Zach from Buda, Texas. My question, well, I guess first off, I like the show a lot. I'm always excited to see the new episodes come out. But my question is about an RO system. I just got an RO system. It's been sitting in the garage and I hadn't put it to use yet. I thought about trying to hard plumb it, but the filter came with a garden hose connection, so I guess I can just hook it up, make the water, when I'm done, be done with it till next time. But the question is, do I leave water in the filters, or do I need to take the filters out, let them air dry, and put it back? Because it's got a carbon, the sediment, and then the membrane. So the carbon and the sediment, I guess I can just let them air dry. But the membrane, I'm curious if you can leave water in there, if it's bad. Who knows? Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
First off, that's right down the road from us. That's right down the road from where I grew up. My pop still lives in Manchac. Sorry.
It's very close. I mean, we know Buda very well. Our Buddha is people not from the area
Not
would
from the
say.
area. Yeah. Buddha. Yeah, it's a great town and know it well. You say that. I don't know it well anymore because it's a gazillion times larger than my childhood. Every time I drive through Kyle and Buda on the way to my parents, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's new.
Well, that whole area is just kind of grown
my
together,
gosh,
hasn't
dude.
it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The Austin Metroplex, I guess you would call it, right? Which Dallas has had their massive Metroplex forever. San Antonio sort of has it with Selma shirts, all those other areas. But Austin is just absorbing where, yeah, you're right. I barely leave San Marcos and it's like, I feel like I'm already in Austin. But anyways, so yeah, great town, Zach. I had to take his question for that. And thanks for mentioning you like the show. RO, this is actually a question when he asked that, I go, I've never thought about that. Because I have a new RO system and the maintenance on it for me is just my father-in-law telling me to put calendar reminders for replacing filters. Like he was like, yeah, it's just easier if you do it. I forget what, some of them are annual, some of them are like biannual. I have it all on my calendar so I don't forget. But should I be draining those? I mean, what's the process, Todd? Like you have multiple RO systems that you maintain. Is there something to Zach's question that is good for all of us?
I actually asked this question to a very similar question one time to a group of people that had developed RO systems in the United States and still build and design RO systems. And they had very, very specific advice. The first and foremost on the actual membranes, the RO part of the whole filter system, you don't ever want to let those get dry. So once they've become wet, they have to stay wet. The problem with my system at home and the system we have here that's 300 gallons a day is that if you don't use it for a long period of time, say 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it'll start to smell where it's getting, something's going on with that filter. So I asked them at the time, because I was having that problem, I was like, should I run a little bleach through there? And they were like, oh, you can do that once maybe, but it's not anyway, I ended up doing that. I ran just to put a little bleach in line. I mixed it up in one of the filters before that and let the bleach run through there. And that seemed to help. The other thing that really seems to help a lot is to just run it for a while and let it clear all that out. And then it doesn't smell at all. And it seems to be very clean again. The other suggestion they made to me, which I don't always do because I don't know if you can relate to this, Josh, but sometimes I get lazy. But what they said to do is if you're not going to do it for a long time, to take the filters out, put them in a bag and put them in your fridge. So what I have done several times when I knew I wasn't going to use it for a long time is I would take them out, put them in a vacuum seal bag, vacuum seal it, and then I put it in the fridge. And then say I'm going to use it, 2 months later, I'll take it out and put it back in. And it seems to be much better if I take the time to do that.
Okay, so by use it, you mean you're not pouring from that little RO faucet at all for upwards of 2 to 3 months?
I pour from my little one all the time, but I'm not talking about my little one. I'm talking about my big one.
Okay.
I have two in the barn. One's the one at the kitchen sink, and then the other one is the 300 gallon per day.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
So
not
the 300
same,
gallon per day one, I only use when I brew. So another thing I've started doing is I will just every week or so, I'll just randomly turn it on and let it run for a little while. Just running down the sink. Really, it's kind of a waste of water. But that way, I find if I do that maybe on average once a week, then I don't get that smell if I don't use it for a month or two.
But you say waste. Let me throw you a bone here so people don't think that you're just anti-earth. You collect water all the time in kegs for future brewing. I've seen it, and I'm assuming it's from that system. So
yeah. So I'll do that too. I'll let it run for a little bit, and then I'll put it in a keg and fill up a keg, and then I've used it, and it's good for several more weeks.
Okay, because my system's all the same. I use mine every day. I'm always taking a cup out there, whatever cup I'm using, and drink at least a cup or two. And I fill up carboys, or I'll fill up a keg for water. In the office there, at least every other week, I feel like when I'm up there, we're using that system, James, for
and we need to do,
water.
now that we have those Topo Chico things, we need to start making that again. I think it's a lot better to drink water with some minerals in it.
I can't believe I didn't mention that at the top of the show. Let me let's wrap his question up before I mention that, because I am actually, that's the thing I'm most excited about coming up in 2024. But finishing up Zach's question, the garden hose 1-2 part, is that just for portability? Like, we have our buddies at Brewo, who make the portable kind of kit and all that. Would a garden hose connection, if you had the option of the portable kind of kit or hard plumbing it in, is there a benefit to one or the other that y'all can think of?
The hose connection thing would work fine. If it's hard plumbed in, you just don't have to screw it and unscrew it. I mean, I've got mine on a valve, so because I use the water for an ice maker as well. So I can just turn my valve on anytime. It's an inline valve on the hose. Okay. I've never seen, and I think the portable ones from Brewo are the garden hose connection too. Because the idea being, you take it with you to your brew day and you start collecting the water at whatever the source might be, and you don't have the space or whatever to hard plumb it in. But at your home, James, well, I mean, I know you're not brewing at home, but you don't use RO. You use RO at the office only for brewing, but you don't.
Yeah, I've got well water at the house. I actually have city water now, but it's not anything. I would probably run the city water through an RO just like we do here, but I wouldn't even waste my time with the well water. It's got too much dissolved particulates in it. It would not be efficient. I think, Todd, you'd let me borrow. We got a briefcase RO system.
Yeah.
At a trade show, and
that's the one he was talking about earlier.
Yep.
And I took it home and hooked it up to the well water and just set it in the backyard. And after several hours, there was only about that much water in the I used a water jug.
Yeah, collected.
And I was shocked. And Todd, to be fair, he told me, he said, I talked to the people at the RO people that make the filters, and they said, no, that's got too much. Looking at the water profile, it's got too much dissolved solids, and it just won't work. You'd have to have a water softener first, and then you'd have to run it through the water softener and then run it through an RO system. But now that I have city water, I wouldn't be afraid to use it. But I wouldn't leave it. I wouldn't dry the filters out. Just like Todd said, I would leave them wet and the water's still in the filter housings.
Yeah.
And that's what we do here.
Yeah. And I have
I would also, I use my RO system I only have well water, so it's all used with well water. But I think, James, your well water just has a lot more minerals in it or something, right?
It does. I'm completely surrounded by coastal fields.
Okay.
And they're always dumping fertilizer and whatever. So, and my well's only 30 feet deep. I think, Todd, didn't you say yours was quite a bit deeper than that?
Yeah, it's 330 feet deep. Yeah. And then I have one down below that's about 30 feet deep. Yeah.
Is the 300 one now wells? Is this like Lassie, Timmy stuck? Like, can I get stuck in that well, or is there no intro into it? Or
we could try.
Okay. Well, yeah. James, your hands are huge. I might be able to the whole this big. Yeah, Josh. Yeah, that's like my wife. Or you did this too. You bought me a medium once too. I love how romanticized y'all have of what size I am. My wife bought me a shirt for Christmas, and it's a medium, and I was like, I'm not a medium. And she goes, well, no, you've been losing weight. I go, first off, the Christmas break, I don't know, people on YouTube can see from my baggy sweatshirt. No, I've gained weight on purpose. I like gaining winter weight. Fat Josh is the best Josh. Todd has always said that.
No, I love Fat Josh.
Fat Josh is the best Josh.
He's so much more fun.
Way more fun. Cheeks are way redder. That's how you can tell when I'm fat or not. But either way, she got me a medium, and I was like, you could have went in my wardrobe and looked. All of those are larges, and some of them are even extra large. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's the problem. But anyway, I digress. Zach, thank you so much for submitting the question, but keeping the conversation on water before we wrap up the episode. I am very excited that we are about to have a brand new product on the website. It's not in the show notes today because I know I'm not getting it listed today, but we've had enough people reach out to us. We have that, we've had the recipe so that you could go buy the minerals to make your own Mexican sparkling mineral water at home. I can say Topo Chico, I think. If their lawyers give us a cease and desist, I'll just bleep it out. But we've got the water profile that actual water supply. And I felt like a drug dealer in Todd's barn one night, and he was like, "Show me how to bag the minerals." And I was like, "Yes, si, senor." And I bagged all the various things based off the thing, measuring in little grams and this or that. It's actually didn't take me that long. What did we time me at? I think my slowest one was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It was pretty quick per bag. But we are about to start selling 5-gallon kits for Topo Chico little mineral bags. I'm actually super excited about it. Todd's already made a video. You can see it at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour or directly at homebrewhappyhour.com if you want to make your own. If you want to go buy all the minerals, measure them out and all that, Todd then shows you how he mixes it in the warm water first, gets a keg full of very cold water, puts it in there, and then, force carbs it and has mineral water. And you've been now doing that at the barn, Todd, for 7 months, 6 months. It's been the better chunk of 2023. If I'm drinking sparkling water at your house, it is Topo Chico clone. You're not doing RO water straight anymore on tap. It is mineral water.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
And I think we both read, you started doing that mostly because you had read too much RO can be bad for the gut because it wants to leave. Well, remember you told me it and I looked it up. And I was like, son of a gun, I shouldn't be drinking just RO water.
Yeah, you just need minerals. So if you drink water without any minerals, eventually you just have a deficit of minerals. That's what I got out of it.
Okay, I thought it was something about it leaches the good stuff off your intestines, or whatever. I don't know. But either way, like you said, you just need minerals. So this kit, we're gonna have it listed on the site. Look for it soon. That is probably what I'm looking forward to most in 2024. The beginning part, at least, is getting that out there because a lot of people I think would be interested in it. And Lord knows, James, we sell a ton of soda carbonating kits. That might have been in recap one of our best retail products of 2023. We've sold a crap ton of soda carbonating kits, and this is just a natural add-on for those kits, I think, Todd, where get people making, look how many people use soda streams. That it's people want sparkling water at home, I do believe. But anyway, people who are doing it, read the instructions. You do need RO water for that. You're not going to be using your already mineraled water and then adding minerals to it and then making Topo Chico. You have to start with a blank slate. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And that's in all the instructions. And again, I'll put a link to the existing article about it with the recipe that we use because it's not secretive. This isn't proprietary. Todd was able to find it himself. He didn't have to pay anybody off in Mexico. It's public information what the mineral build is of their water supply. But I will.
I may have paid somebody off. You never know.
But I will say this though, after having made now, I don't know, 25 bags, which isn't very many, but that's all the time I've committed to it. You're going to make a bag or 2 or 3 or however many batches and be like, I'm just going to buy it. It is not enjoyable at all. And the scale you have to be able to measure that accurately it's not just your bathroom scale. It's, like I said, you're going to feel like a drug dealer, which is, whatever. Cool. Great story. Anyway, Zach from Buda, thank you again. Chris from West Virginia, Joe Whiting, our buddy, and you guys, thank you so much. Next week, we're going to actually have to record earlier because we're flying to St. Louis to meet with a vendor, a beer installer in the burbs of St. Louis. So we'll figure that out next week. But
we're very excited about that. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll have him on the show someday.
Well, and yes, we'll talk about it after this because I thought I'm taking the equipment anyway to St. Louis. Maybe we do an episode with him while we're there that day, and that would be the following week's episode. Because I think talking with people who are in the craft side of the stuff is very interesting to the majority of people who tune in, I would think. But anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all's time, and I will catch y'all next week.
Later. All right. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, be Todd's best friend. Get yourself a $25 gift card by leaving us a voicemail at 325 305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsors like Munton's Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Munton's Malt, give them a try by joining our Trub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with premium recipes from us when you join the Trub Club. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.